4.5 stacks of nether quartz. Clearly quite a lot of it. We got a little bit of starter quartz. How did I just teleport to vanilla? Ah, yes. The lion. King of the jungle. Sitting on top of the head of a sheep. But is... My name is Sean. People on the internet call me Spumwack. And we are actually going to keep it pretty technical today. Last episode, I left off with the big reactor. I'm still working on the reactors, but I totally forgot to play with my owl buddies. Let's bring out the owls right here. Possibly even breed them so we can get more of them. Do I have more? They eat pork, right? Do I just not have any pork? How about beef? Raw beef. Raw beef. Let's check out some raw beef. I think you can possibly breed them with raw beef. Anyways, owl 1, owl 2, owl 3. Ooh, and you're just a baby. And we gotta get you an axe at some point. Axe. I completely forgot about naming all the baby owls, which I totally feel terrible for. So we're gonna do that right now. Of course, I don't have a forge. I mean, I need an anvil. That's what I need. Preferably just one. As well as some name tags. 14's gonna do the trick. Actually, 3's gonna do the trick. And, of course, the only way to name these guys is going to be Gimli, Legolas, and that other guy. And these names were suggested by MentosMan321, by the way. So, let's check them all out. We've got Gimli. Oh, we don't have an axe yet. Can you hold an axe? Little baby owl, I'm curious. Can you hold a little... no? Does it just... oh, wait, look. He's got it on his back. He's got it on his little tiny owl back. But he keeps trying to turn, so oh, there he goes. That's awesome. What's up, Legolas? Here you go. Have a bow. Oh, and he loves me for that. He loves me 6 points for that, or I guess it healed him? I don't know what's going on. Anyways, little tiny owl. You get to be Gimli. And then it is Aragorn, right? I feel bad. I may have gotten the names mixed up. No, it's Boromir. Huh? Nope, it is Aragorn. Just kidding, it is Aragorn. Yeah, obviously you can tell I'm not the biggest Lord of the Rings fan. Anyways, we got Legolas, Aragorn, and Gimli ready for action. Come on, owls. Are you guys... you gonna come? You just gonna chill there? Oh, the baby's at least just gonna chill there. Can I get you to come? Do you listen? No? I can just get you to hold the axe while you chill. Alright, well, tell you what. We're gonna tell all of the... hey, stop it. Stick your feet together. We're gonna have all the axe just sit around, or all the owls sit around for a minute. Here you go. Here's your bow back. Here's your sword back. So they shouldn't follow me now, right? You guys are just chilling? Yeah, yep. We gotta wait for Gimli to grow up. Legolas, no. You come down from there. Come down. Where are you going? Oh my god, you're driving me crazy. Chill. Feet separated. Is how you just sit there, right? Alright, everyone's chilling. Minding their own business. Feet are still separated. Even after I right-click with a sword. And we're all good. Okay, that was not nearly as easy to do as I thought it was going to be. So here's what's going on. I want to mess with reactors today because I've had this idea for something amazing in my brain. I don't want to give it away because I want it to be a surprise. But it does require lots of power. Actually, it doesn't require lots of power. Like, this is probably good enough. But I still want to get the next level of reactor, which will be the turbine reactor. And that'll be a lot of fun to do. So, first of all, we're going to have to move this entire thing. I'm going to attempt doing that with the frames mod. So, I'd like to tear all this stuff down. This didn't produce as much cyanide ingots as I wanted it to. Although... totally fine. We could have just put Yellorium with sand to do that, because I got it confused with the plutonium before, and it was a mess. Anyway, so let's tear all of this down, because we just want the reactor itself to be right there. We're gonna actually switch this over to... actually, I think normal's fine. Possibly. Normal does grass instantly. Yes, it does. We're gonna make a whole bunch of room underneath this thing, because we want to use the frames mod to move it. So I gotta get rid of all the the redstone water in this thing, and then surround this thing in frames, and then hopefully we can start chugging it along without having to tear the entire thing down and rebuilding it. So if you don't know how the frames mod works or what it does, let me give you a slight overview here. Wow, these things don't break down super easily. I'd be pretty upset with that. So let's say we've got a frame connected to, I don't know, a piece of dirt or something. We'll go ahead and throw down the redstone flux motor. The arrow on the bottom means it moves items on the bottom connected to the frame in the direction of the arrow. Fairly straightforward. It does, however, have to be powered by something. So we'll give it a generator, and I think this will work. I'm not totally sure, but let's give it a shot. And unfortunately, since there was no frame touching the generator, it didn't move the generator over, but that's a problem we can address quite easily. Go ahead and tear the generator down again. Since we're flying, it'll take a second. Same thing with the redstone flux motor, although you had a whopping 10,000. Put the motor right there. We will change the dirt to now being a frame. Put more frames over here. Let's say the dirt is right there, the generator is right there. Now we can do the same thing again, hook you up to a lever and bet. Well, apparently that happens. You know what sucks? Had I tested this thing before I tried this, actually, in single player. Except I used quarries and pipes and block breakers and block placers and all these other fancy mods and micro blocks and all this other stuff, and it worked just jack freaking dandy. But apparently a wooden frame and dirt crashes the entire server. So unfortunately, I'm just gonna ditch this whole idea of the frames mod. I was actually, let me go ahead and tell you, I wanted to make a completely automated quarry out of this stuff. I was gonna have a quarry move. Oh, this is, what are you doing? You're like lagging down my game or something. Yeah, that was like really affecting my frame rate. I had a quarry move, or frame, whatever that was called, engine, move something over. Let's say the reactor is a quarry system set up. It had the big old block of frames. It moved the quarry over, and then it would have harvested the entire area using energy from the reactor being pumped through a tesseract. And then once it was done, it would break the engine block, which would then pop up, get sucked up by an item filter, and get placed one block over, and then move the entire thing one block over, and then restart the quarry one block over. So it would really just start shaving a giant square. I was going to attach a portal to it so that we could always get to it, because, you know, it would be standing still most of the time. And it was all just this grand idea of mine to have this eternally moving quarry in the mining dimension that would just cut a strip along the landscape and also hook up a chunkler to it so that it would always just keep going. Obviously, it would be kind of laggy, so I wouldn't have it running all the time. I would probably only turn it on while I was doing stuff, but it doesn't even appear that that's an option anymore. So I don't even know what I want to do with this power. First of all, I know I at least want to move this entire thing, so let's just ditch these frames. Oh yeah, someone was saying that you can press Control Q to drop items in a whole stack like you can in vanilla, but you actually can't in mod sauce. I don't know why. We can drop one at a time, but Control Q just doesn't seem to work. Anyways, I still want to build a big reactor for our giant supply of energy, so we're going to be focusing on that today, and we're just going to abandon the concept of using frames to move it, and we're just going to move the whole thing by hand. Now we've got our reactor mostly moved. Mostly nothing's happening. Okay, good. So we've got it mostly moved. We're not going to move the redstone junk inside of it because this down there was a passively cooled reactor. And what we're going to be doing is turning this thing into an actively cooled reactor with giant spinning turbines. So we'll see how that works out in a second. I believe our owls are finally grow up. Aragorn! Can you follow me? Do I at least have my bow? There's my bow. Bow, my god! Let's set you to feet together means follow, right? Let's sit down. Feet together means follow. It does. All right, so we can have our owls chilling with us. Legolas. I don't know. Why do you have the sword, Legolas? That's not your weapon. All right, feet together. Gimli over here. What's up, dude? I'll be taking that. Feet together. Now, axe. Aragorn. Sword. Legolas. Bow. There we go. You have my sword. And my bow. And my axe! God, I make that joke so often. It's so nice to be able to have owls chill around me. And I got the various weapons with me. Neat. Anyway, so, the reactor. I'm getting totes distracted by my owls right now. We gotta have a giant turbine connected to this thing. Which means this thing will no longer be cooled by throwing down this stuff. Whatever it's called. I forget what it's called. The liquid redstonium inside this thing. So, we gotta first set up a way to turn our cyanite into plutonium so that we can start building various reactor pieces. And actually, let me see. Not reactor. What's the other one called? A turbine. A turbine. Let's see what we're going to need to build turbine pieces. We need at least one rotor bearing. So, well, we have nothing for that. Neat. Let's get some turbine houses, which require cyanite and some nether quartz, which I do believe we have a lot of. So, never mind. We don't have a lot of nether quartz, so we're going to have to make a lot of nether quartz. Can we actually make nether quartz, or do we have to go hunting for it manually? We can make pure nether quartz, please. Does that count? No. That doesn't count at all. Well, crap poop. Definitely gotta go hunting for some nether quartz. Do I at least have something with fortune on it? I don't even know if I do anymore. It's been so long. Yep. Yeah, we've got this guy, which has some fortune tree on the Luckinator. Let's go romping around the nether. I should probably set up a quarry at some point, but man, that's a bad tool. Anyways, yeah, I gotta go romping around the nether and get some nether quartz. Okie dokie. Heading back through the portal, the distant portal, we've got 4.5 stacks of nether quartz. Clearly quite a lot of it. We got a little bit of starter quartz. How did I just teleport to vanilla? Wait. Oh god, this is my viewer room. Oh my god, my brain. I completely forgot I put this portal here, and I was like, wait, this world was destroyed. What just happened? That was so confusing. Oh, man. My brain. Oh, my brain. Alright, so we've got the sag mill here. I don't know what's going on with... So it's getting energy, and you're going to turn each one of these nether quartz into 4 pieces of quartz. You're inputting... What are you inputting? You're inputting nothing into here. You are outputting... You should be outputting your items nowhere. I'm curious to see where this goes. Okay. So the nether quartz will just pop up right here. We should be able to just keep up as long as we replace this manually. I don't feel like... Oh, do we... Oh, you, my friend, are not getting enough power. I wonder why not. You're holding 0 because the Tesseract no longer contains power. I get it. I understand it. It's cool. We're going to get that Tesseract back anyway. So let's go ahead and grab our generator back from here and replace our Tesseract. I'm glad we didn't actually put any more changes into this thing, so the coal can still be pushed into the generator. Alright, there we go. So now we should be, once again, regaining power in the sag mill, going up. Yeah, there we go. Start getting our nether quartz, and we'll throw the rest of the nether quartz in here. And oh my god, that little expedition took longer than I wanted it to. Now, let's start with making some turbines, shall we? I know that we're going to need a bunch of turbine housing. Let's grab these, and in fact, let's just right-click or even just shift-click. There we go. That's all our nether quartz. I don't think we're going to need any nether quartz individually for these pieces. So we can't use that because we need to get... What's the one called? The one we need. That's not called a turbine. It's called the something. It generates the blue... I forget what it's called. It turns cyanamite, whatever it's called, into plutonium. I can't remember the name of the thing. Let's see, computer port, coolant port, access port, power tap, redstone, steam, coolant, ludicrite, plutonium block. And here's what bothers me about this. When you look up the plutonium ingot, it's shapeless crafting, smelting, redstone, induction, alloy, shapeless, blah. It doesn't tell you how to do it. Even the plutonium dust. Grindstone, crusher, pulverizer, sag mill, grindstone. There's literally no recipe in this thing for the the thing that we're going to be using it for. It's called a plutonium, no, cyanite reprocessor. That's what it's called. That's what it's called. So we can build one of these guys. I believe they require water to run, so we're also going to get an aqueous accumulator. We're actually going to need a lot of aqueous accumulators to really get this place going, but let's go ahead and grab a water sigil so we can get some water. We need to get some solids. Let's make them some fun solids just cause. Let's make it ender tank glass. The rest of this thing is being built out of ender tank stuff anyway. So we're going to put the aqueous accumulator. We need to go ahead and bring some liquid transport nodes. Just one's going to do for now, as well as pipes. Good old-fashioned transfer pipes. We're also going to need to power this thing with energy. Let's go ahead and start with a basic generator. We'll just repurpose... Oh, you know what? Let's go ahead and bring power pipes back in... Ooh, we don't have a lot of energy pipes, do we? Alright, energy... Oh my god, the amount of backstone... Oh, now we need to make stone slabs. The amount of stepping back that we need to do to get this thing built is insane. Alright, now... Energy pipe. There we go. All it took is an extra space. There we go. Now we got energy pipes on the way. Let's go ahead and grab a stack of these guys and see what we can do. Good owls. Just chilling right there. This is definitely moving slower than I thought. I don't think I'm gonna get around to building the entire turbine today. This is like all the steps necessary to get the turbine built, so that's really frustrating. But let's go ahead and set up our aqueous accumulator. Let's put it sideways in between the two machines. The reason I'm using ender tank glass, by the way, and not normal glass, is so I don't have to have a silk touch tool to tear it down. We can just use the atomic disassembler. And everything drops down here, goes straight into our advanced item collector. So yeah, we are collecting our ender tanks that way. And let's find a decent way to store our water right here. Now we've got this fun little machine set up. I decided to go ahead and go with the Tesseract. Check out. This is a really simple solution. I just threw a Tesseract on bottom of this generator from the furnace generator because we don't actually have a reactor set up for this thing yet. God, I'm thinking if our turbine, well, our turbine actually can be long. It doesn't have to be super wide, so I think we'll have enough room with that, although this needs to be pushed over probably. Anyways, this is at least a time to start pushing the cyanite through this thing. It's really frustrating that this just didn't show up in any eye at all. So we've got the aqueous accumulator underneath it, automatically sending the water up into the cyanite reprocessor. We've got the Tesseract sending power into the back of the cyanite reprocessor, and we're getting the plutonium that we need. Which is cool. So we're going to keep working on the plutonium. Let's check out the uses for it. It is used in the crafting of many important things. Shaped crafting for the turbine controller, which is the most vital part of the turbine. So we don't need a whole lot of it, but it is used in making plutonium blocks, which are pretty fun, and I forget what other purpose it serves, but we'll probably have more than it than we'll ever need. So now we're going to start building the turbine housing and the turbine blocks. So let me go prep those blocks real quick like. Now we've got the basic shell of the turbine in place. Here is where the fun stuff comes in. We're going to have to put a rotor shaft with a whole bunch of rotor blades going down the center of this thing, surrounded by a coil of gold connected to a rotor bearing at the end. Sounds real complicated, I know, but don't worry. That's just as complicated as it sounds. So we'll start by putting the rotor shafts across the center. I don't know why I cut out of that spot, because that's like the one spot that I need to access. And let's just go ahead and go back right here. Go ahead and throw our blocks of gold. Actually, let's move you. This is going to be our gold coil at the back of our machine. Like so. Put the rotor shaft connected to the end, connected to a rotor bearing at the end. Finally finish this thing with some turbine housing. Now this should be the beginning stages of a beautiful looking turbine. Let's tear down some pieces of this thing so we can throw in some blades. The number of blades is going to be dependent on the strength of our whatchamahoosit of our reactor. So I'm just sort of guessing right now so we can get this thing started and then we can fine tune it as we go along. So we're getting all the blades set up in place along this bad boy. All right. All the blades are in place. The coil's in place. The shaft is in place. And everything is set to go. The only thing we're missing is actually... I think I may have put the turbine port, or the rotor bearing on the wrong side. I do believe the rotor bearing, it either goes on both sides? No. It needs exactly one, I believe. Let's see what's missing. Incompatible with machines of type multi-block turbine. Well, that's odd. Alright, let's try putting the turbine shaft on the other side. Here you go. Housing on that side right there. Let's try throwing you down on this side, opposite the coil, and see if that does the trick. No, it still says incompatible. Yep, I need to do a little more research. Alright. We got it working. Believe it or not, these are mostly the same blocks. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. We'll tear this down. It all looks mostly the same, as you can see. The only thing I was getting wrong is I didn't have turbine glass. I was still using the ender tank glass from the big reactor, which is quite a stupid name if you ask me. It should be called reactor glass if it's meant to be used with the reactor, since this is called turbine glass. Quite silly. Anyways, the rest of it's exactly the same. Pop this back in place, and now we have a fully furnished turbine structure. We really can't play with this yet, though. That's the downside. We can throw down the controller. It won't do anything, but we can put it down. And you can... Alright, you know, fine. You can just stay in there. You can throw it on the controller, and look at that! Can't activate it because it's not receiving any steam. We need to generate steam inside this machine. And of course, to generate steam, you need to feed it with water. And to feed it with water, you need to put water through transport pipes. That's what we're going to do right here. We're feeding stuff in through a transport pipe over to the side. And then I'm going to lay down some stone bricks and some aqueous accumulators. We're going to throw together just a whole bunch of water to put inside this thing. I've started accumulating some aqueous. We'll go ahead and set up the first row of transfer pipes all straight up like so, with everyone connected to a tank, which I presume should be filling up pretty quickly. Or maybe not. 4,000, 16,000. Okay, so that's all we wanted to have on the tank right there. We're going to go ahead and continue that trend with another liquid transfer node coming at the top of this guy. I'm bringing our water straight on over, and we're just going to plug it right into the corner of this thing. We're even going to move this whole coolant port. Hopefully you pop out on my side. Thank God. And hopefully I grab this glass on my side. Oh, it's also easy. Beautiful. So, let's see. Where'd that coolant port go? Where did that coolant port? There it is. Reactor coolant port. Gonna go right there. Get rid of these pipes, and instead connect these pipes. And now we should... Oh, it's not quite done yet. Go ahead and put our last piece of ender tank glass in place. More should be working, I think. It is kind of hard to tell because you can't see inside these transfer pipes. But if we need to, we can throw some speed upgrades in here. We'll see how this thing runs. Moreover, we'll see if this thing runs. That's the big issue here. So let's go ahead and activate the reactor and look at our 102 millibuckets per tick. I tell you, that's not very much. Not a very efficient reactor design. We'll see if that goes up a bit. It looks like it is sitting at maximum water all the time, so I'm happy about that. Wonder why the millibuckets per tick is so low. We should try moving around the fuel rods. Oh wow, this thing just got the heat cranked way up inside of it, didn't it? It's operating at 200% fuel reactivity. It's good to know. Good to know. Although I am quite curious if perhaps there's a way we can move these fuel rods around to speed this thing up a little bit. Let's try it out. Alright, we've moved all the fuel rods over to be all right next to each other. So hopefully they should generate just more heat. So let's reactivate the reactor. It is online, and sadly it's still only generating 102 millibuckets per tick. I can't for the life of me figure out why that's the case, but we're just going to go ahead and press on anyway because this thing is relatively easy to get running. So that 102 millibuckets per tick is an important number because that's what we need to set our turbine to. So we need to bring this thing all the way down from 1,000. So let's bring you down a couple hundred at a time. And you're going to be 200 or 102. What was it? That was the number? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 102 millibuckets per tick. Same thing right here is 102 millibuckets. At least it's a perfectly even number. So now all we need to do is bring some steam over from this port to this port, and we should be ready to get our turbine running. So we've got a turbine fluid port for which to accept the steam. Let's just make it a straight shot right here. Turbine fluid port. Goes in right there. And we need to mess around with the reactor port. I can't actually remember off the top of my head which one we need right now. So let's see what we're looking at. That's turbine. Power reactor tap. Well, that's just not right. Reactor red net. Coolant. Power. Control rod. Reactor casing. I can't remember what it was. So I was a little stuck for a second. I was briefly confused because no one mentions in any tutorials that you need to switch between input and output on these reactor coolant ports. And to do so, you need to have a wrench, but no wrench comes with the mod, so you have to use like a Buildcraft wrench or something. Anyway, so by switching it to red, it is now in output mode, which is how you can output steam, which is considered liquid. So we can throw steam inside this machine, which then gets pumped into our turbine, which is mysteriously not working. I think we have to turn it on first. And activate turbine. Oh, here it goes. Oh, look at it go. The turbine reactor generating through steam. Oh, it's beautiful. It's so gorgeous. It's so gorgeous, and it's generating an abysmal 32 redstone flux per tick. It has yet to really... Oh, because it's not generating steam fast enough. Alright, we can speed this guy up a little bit. Let's give us a few speed upgrades into this bad boy. Let's see what our steam's doing. Oh, look at that. Now it's sitting on top. We're generating 62 redstone flux per tick, which is tiny. It's tiny right here, but it's still getting up to speed. Actually, I do believe this thing's going to end up quite terrible, as long as I'm being perfectly honest, because this reactor is highly inefficient. So I think I'm going to do some more research into figuring out... Ooh, look how fast it's going now. 88. So nice. I need to do some research into figuring out exactly how to... Yeah, it's already starting to go down. This is just... I guess the rotors are getting up to speed. No, see, now they're going back down to speed. So yeah, this thing needs to be optimized. I'm going to worry about that off camera, because frankly, this has been a huge headache. I mean, I skipped through a lot of unnecessary portions, but I mean, I've been doing this little bit for like 4 hours just trying to get this reactor running. I'm just glad it works. That's all. I'm glad I finally have this thing running. We still need to recycle some of the water out of this thing. It may be what's keeping this thing possibly too cool. Maybe it's trying to slow it down so we can pull some water out of there and put it back into this machine. I don't know why I would. I think this machine's probably maxing out on its water. Is there a way we can find out? Let's check this thing out. Oh, you're actually outputting very little water and steam. Well, what's your problem, bro? Let's try throwing some speed upgrades in this guy. Now maybe our machine starts filling up with water? No. No, but our temperature is getting up a little bit. Good to know. Good to know. So let's just address the water shortage real quick. There we go. There we go. I'm not sure where the problem came into play at, but we are filling this thing up pretty drastically. Let's wait till the water maxes out, and hopefully we can get our millibuckets chilling out. Look at them. They keep bouncing around between lots of numbers that are kind of hard to read. At least we can crank our turbine to at least probably like 650. Let's like maybe average those guys. So let's bring you up to 600 and roughly 50 millibuckets per tick. Now we're starting to produce the redstone. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, now this beast is really starting to speed up the rotor RPM. Maybe we can get this thing to, nope. Nope. Out of water. Again, I'm not sure why. Maybe, oh, now that tank is empty. Possibly all the aqueous accumulators need more speed upgrades. But like I said, yeah, I'm gonna worry about totally upgrading all the stuff. I was just, wow, look how fast that's going. That's intense. That's kind of scary, actually. But, yeah, I'll fine-tune this on my own time, and I will catch you guys next time.